Welcome to Harbor Rock Wealth Management's Planning Tip of the Week. My name is Ruben Smith. This week we are not going to be discussing a specific financial planning tip. Rather, we're going to be discussing the idea and perceptions around the financial planning process. And what prompted this is I came across an article on LinkedIn from a fellow advisor that quoted his 5 favorite quotes from Carl Richards, who's a New York Times columnist. So to help me unravel this and have this discussion, we're going to have my good friend and partner, Jimmy Lester, join us again.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, I'm glad to be back. This is a great topic, too, because it's not specifically, this isn't a recommendation episode.
Right.
This is, perception's a big word. And for a lot of people, perception truly is reality. We've heard that so often, but in this sense, like just thinking about what financial planning means to me and the process that I've been and what we do for a living with clients on a daily basis, even if people haven't been through that process before or haven't worked with a planner specifically, that doesn't mean that they don't have an idea of what that looks like. And that perception is reality for them.
Yeah.
So this will be interesting to get into this today.
Yeah. Well, before we dive into it, stat of the day, or are we
making time for that today?
Always.
Of course we are. I'm not going to leave you without a stat of the day. I actually have 2. I usually come with at least 2. And one of them's right up your alley. So 1991.
Okay.
From your alumni.
Okay.
Marshall Falk.
San Diego State. Okay, I thought you were going real local.
No,
okay.
no San Clemente stat today.
Yeah.
But it is Marshall Falk in his second collegiate game in 1991 on this day in sports history, rushed for 7 touchdowns. And I think they beat Pacific, University of Pacific, 50-something to 30-something. So it sounds like he had all the scoring.
Pretty much did it all, huh?
He accounted for all of it that day. Also, in 1951, at Purdue University, they were doing some serious research over there at this time, and they developed the seedless watermelon.
Not sports history.
So the seedless watermelon was developed in 1951, Purdue University. What an academic achievement. And the word on the street back then was that it's going to be about 8 to 10 pounds, and it's going to be in every grocery store near you. So,
are they still 8 to? Are they 8 to? Some of them are smaller. I've noticed the seedless are
they have
the little minis.
And,
Everything's been so modified. Thank
anyway.
you, Boilermakers, and thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate it. I'm glad I came across that one. I have enjoyed myself a seedless watermelon. So
I actually prefer it. I don't oppose the seeds, but if it's nice not to have to worry about them.
Fun stuff anyway.
All right, so let's jump into this. This fellow financial advisor on LinkedIn posted 5 of these quotes, and I thought they were really relevant to how we conduct our business and how we actually see the financial planning process and operate. And it's also a good reminder for us because we have to, even though we know and we have conviction in what we say and what we do on a daily basis, our clients or prospective clients may not be. They may still have these blinders on, if you will. So let's get right into it. So the first one was clients don't care about solutions. They care about their problems. So I take that as, and I've always prided myself on not talking over clients. It's very easy in this business, especially when it comes to investment discussions, to go the analytical route and say big words and talk in complex sentences and really talk over your clients. And I've tried my best to relate to clients and really simplify the process and above all, listen.
Sure. I think I do a much better job of this in the office than at home, if you know what I mean. I think it's, for me, this means clients want you to listen, hear them.
Yeah.
Hear them, understand them. They don't always want you to come at them with a solution necessarily, especially until they have said their piece and have shared with you their problem.
Sure.
And what's keeping them up at night.
Right.
And I just think about it at home, and my wife's very patient with me, and me in my nature of wanting to help. I'm a fixer, and She gives me a problem, and I have to remind myself, slow down.
Yeah.
We'll arrive there together at a solution, which is important. It's kind of like what we do here, but that's an important thing to remember, is that the client or the person or whatever close relationship you're in, they want to be heard.
Well, listening is a skill set that I constantly work on too. It's an integral part of the relationship when working with clients, because you will not truly grasp where they stand or where they're thinking with certain strategies or where they're at financially without walking a mile in their shoes.
You might
right?
miss something.
Yeah, exactly. So
Great point.
I know it sounds, oh, you can't listen, you don't hear, but no, it's very important and an integral part of the relationship.
Sure.
The second one is the concept of retirement is dumb. The fact that there's this arbitrary age when we are going to stop doing productive or meaningful work and go into just doing things that we enjoy. So what's your spin on that?
Well, I don't know. When I think of retirement, I think of, okay, let's take the next 15 years of moments where I'm very mobile, and let's go check off all the boxes. Let's bungee jump. Let's travel to Machu Picchu. Mm-hmm. Great Wall of China. Northern Lights is a big one we hear a lot.
Sure.
And it's all these trips and things you wanted to do. Why do you have to wait till then to do them? I think it doesn't put so much pressure on you, in my mind, later at retirement, when it's supposed to be a time of a different pace.
Right.
Why does the pace have to speed up?
Right.
That's what I think about.
Well, I think the advantage of going through and having a financial planner while you're still in the accumulation phase is that you start building towards those goals, or having the capacity to achieve those goals prior to retirement. Or maybe what we like to do with clients is change their perception. We've talked about that before, of what retirement looks like. So maybe for a client, it's a phase out, right? It's just not a finite day that they stop working.
Right. It's not a specific
and then they
event,
can travel.
like retirement day.
Build this in. Enjoy your life while you can. And
Yeah.
to that note, I used to give out a book to clients called The New Retirementality. And I'm sure it's still out there on Amazon or whatever, but it's a great book, and it talks about the idea of at what cost are you pushing yourself to work till 65 or a certain goal?
Yep.
What are you giving up, or what are you risking?
That's right.
And life is short, so we need to enjoy life and those around us. And so it's an interesting spin on this, but it relates.
I like it.
And then we also, some of you clients out there have heard the idea of this bucket list.
Yeah.
And so we keep that on our desk because it's a talking point. We want to make sure that we know what's on our client's bucket list to professionally nudge them from time to time.
Yeah, and it's not always the big trip. We tell people attainable bucket list items too. Like, I still love one of our clients wants to sing the national anthem.
Oh, absolutely.
At a sporting event.
And we are working on that, by the way.
And then everyone we've shared that with says, well, like at Angel Stadium or Dodger Stadium? No, maybe at a Little League All-Star game, or I don't know.
Maybe at the next Harbor Rock event.
The local parade, yes. At the next Harbor Rock event for sure. Yeah, I like it.
Very good. Okay. So the third one was real financial planners deserve to be paid for telling people to do nothing when doing nothing is the right thing to do.
Love it. Can you think of a bigger flex by a financial planner? And then it's hard to do, and actually have the confidence to say, and it's not necessarily nothing, it's still a move, but not to unravel or come up with some complex solution that doesn't really fit what that individual, just because you have some sort of conviction in it.
Well, making a move just to make a move doesn't necessarily mean it's right. What we focus on, and I think where we bring a lot of value is in providing guardrails or bumper lanes if you're a bowler.
Yeah.
Keeping clients on track, but also making sure that they avoid detrimental mistakes, and whether that's in times when markets are doing well, maybe they're trying to increase the risk when really it's not the right time.
Right.
Or if markets are going down, like we've seen over the last year and a half, Maybe they're trying to take on less risk or get out of certain portfolios.
Sure.
So we're there to be there, take the emotions out of the investment decision. And sometimes that means staying the course.
Yeah. I think that really reigns true with our customized service models.
Sure.
We have, at least once a year, we have an official review. And most often we're having more conversations than one a year, of course, with clients. But what do a lot of them say that have, been with us for over 20 years? Call me when the house is on fire.
Yeah.
We don't need to be making a lot of changes if the plan is in place. That's why you have a plan.
Right.
It doesn't need to be constantly changing. It's a live animal and it's fluid.
Right.
It's able to be updated and changed. That's the design.
Yep.
It's not a document.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Good stuff. I like that. Well, before we get on to the next one, I think of markets this year. So what has been basically creating most of the performance this year in markets? It's the Magnificent Seven. It's the Nvidias. It's the Googles, the Apples at an all-time high.
Some tech beasts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. These mega cap tech companies, and for the most part, they're driving a bulk of the returns. Now, if I'm sitting with a client in a review and saying, okay, this is where your portfolio's at, but by the way, here's where the NASDAQ's at, or here's where technology's at. Am I trying to get them to chase returns, or are we being prudent? No, we got to stay grounded. We got to stay, stay focused on risk-adjusted returns and what's appropriate for them. So,
right. I love it.
All right, number 4. So you don't hire a financial planner because you're dumb. You are smart enough to know that we have blind spots, and you need help.
I love this one. From time to time, we get folks. First, let's go back. We work with a lot of very brilliant people.
Sure, absolutely.
Our client base is typically pretty affluent. They've been successful. They've been in various walks of business and their professional lives in positions of power. They've made big decisions. They're thinkers. They're movers. They're innovators. I think it's hard for people sometimes to especially if they haven't had a lot of experience and they managed a lot of their own finances, especially when they're coming to a point where they're shifting their time towards retirement or something of that nature to give up the reins. I think a lot of them question themselves as to whether they really need an advisor or not. And we've had that question straight up in some consultations.
Sure.
And I love this response. And we respond in a similar fashion, but I think responding with, no, you're so not dumb, you're smart.
Right.
You are smart to realize that, and just in there they talk about having blind spots.
Right.
And that we can't see our blind spots.
Well, I will tell you that the accumulation phase of the financial planning process is much different than the distribution phase. And I say distribution phase, that's the income phase or the retirement phase.
Sure.
There's much more that goes into it. There is tax planning and things on the accumulation side as far as sheltering income and what buckets do you put money into, and but equally as important on the distribution or retirement phase is we're making sure that we're focusing on tax adjusted returns. We're focusing on tax adjusted legacy, passing on assets to your heirs as tax efficient as possible.
Yes.
Excuse me. So the fact that they took the meeting, the fact that they reached out and were proactive enough to say, hey, something's not right, and I'm not feeling 100% confident about this. That was perhaps the smartest thing that they've done.
It's like a enlightened vulnerability,
right,
at that point. And let's take it a step further. When we say we're making non-emotional recommendations, that doesn't mean we don't care. We actually care a ton. This isn't Broadway like we talk about. This isn't a one-way street where you dump everything on us and your concerns and we give you the solution and call it a day. No, to kick off your shoes, we're going to put them on, walk a couple miles, do a couple laps in your shoes, and then come back with an idea together. We're empowering you.
Yeah.
We're going to arrive at this solution together. So that's the ultimate flex, I think, on a potential client's point is saying, have mercy on me financially. I need help. How
Oh,
are we
yeah.
going to get there together?
Yeah, and it goes into partnership and all sorts of things. We, we come with unbiased recommendations. That doesn't mean that if they don't like our recommendation that we're not a fit.
Totally.
It's let's go back to the drawing table.
Yeah.
It's
take
a
another lap.
dance, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
All right, and then the last one, traditional financial planning. The traditional financial planning approach is broken. Financial planning is a process, not an event. Financial planning is a relationship, not a transaction. And financial planning is guessing. It's educated guesses. It's not precise. It's not precision.
Right. And it's planning. And we used to talk about this at our previous firm with some people that they almost would come to the point where they're overthinking everything. And I'm not saying throw caution to the wind. You got to find a spot in the middle where you're planning for the likely, not expecting the unlikely.
Right.
So what does that mean? I mean, that means that in that process that you are planning for what is most likely going to happen. There's your educated guesses based on the facts of the case.
Right.
And then we pivot when the unlikely happens.
Right.
We're able to be fluid, make adjustments. Life happens, right? What do they say? What do they say about the plan? The only thing we know about the plan
Is that it won't go according to plan.
is that it won't go according to plan.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
this is spot on.
Right.
Here
Right.
in
So
this comment.
yeah, and so how that folds through with how we operate with clients each day is we focus on liquidity in portfolios. We focus on you mentioned that client service model.
Yeah.
Access, making sure that we're held accountable based off how often the client wants to meet. We are gonna have these dedicated meetings based off their preference. But
Yeah.
on top of that, we now here at Harbor Rock have the capacity that when market shifts, should portfolios change, it even happened this week where something came to our attention, and within 2 hours, the research was done, and a broad email was sent out to specific clients about some changes in a portfolio. So, being present and available.
Why do soldiers train? Is that because we're in war all the time? No, soldiers train to be prepared
I love it.
to go to war, and that's what this is. When you are meeting regularly with your team and having a plan, and then you're ready to execute that plan, guess what? Some of the things that happen in life, you're spinning. You're
Sure.
not ready to sit down and really. Why not have it in place? Press go. Let's move.
Yeah.
Let's do it together.
Look, we say this all the time. We do serious work, but we also don't take ourselves too serious.
100%.
We enjoy life. We like to have fun. We like to have a good laugh. And we enjoy our clients. We love what we do.
Our work is not it's what we are. It's not who we are.
Yeah. Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. Well, I love this conversation. Hopefully you do as well. Please reach out if you have any questions on this specific topic or any of these concepts. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Thanks a lot.